So thank you for joining the IBM Tealeaf 2019 roadmap session. I and my colleague Whit Blodgett will be taking you through what we have planned for the rest of 2019 and, in fact, a glimpse into the future of what we have planned for IBM Tealeaf. Before we get started, let's start on our favorite disclaimer slide. In this, you'll find that tomorrow is not always like we discuss it today. We'll talk about things in the future, and of course, plans always change. But fortunately, through conversations with our customers, those plans almost always change for the better. And so we really appreciate your feedback and the opportunity to bounce ideas off of you and to innovate together. Before we get started, let's talk about a true story. Imagine, if you will, if you were this customer where you have 25 transactions every single second. Let that sink in a second. 25 transactions a second, but you didn't know that you had 100 failed purchases per day. That's essentially 4 seconds worth of failed transactions in a day. A very small needle in a very big haystack. Then imagine if those transactions, though, add up to a total of $15,000. Take that a little bit further, that $15,000 turns into $5.5 million. So how would you find that such a small needle in such a large haystack if you don't have a tool like Tealeaf? Well, this customer did, fortunately, and while they were doing their research, this is just one of the things that they located in their daily job. You know, they were looking for things like this yesterday. They found this today. They'll go in and they'll do this same thing again tomorrow. And soon, $5.5 million, finds like that soon add up to real money, right? So today, Whit and I are going to be taking you through what IBM Tealeaf looks like in the very near future, because we want for you to be as successful as this particular company was, and more so. So I'm going to, here in a second, I'm going to hand it over to Whit first so he can give you a general overview, and then he can begin to talk about the cloud product, and then I'll come back and we'll discuss what's happening with our upcoming version 10 release. So, Whit, it's all yours.
Great. Thanks, Rob. Hey, everyone. Thank you for joining us. So off the bat here, we want to talk about something that we think is going to be very important in the coming few years, and that is the symbiotic relationship between on-premise and on-cloud Tealeaf. So far, on-premise served as an incredible foundation, vetting out this technology. And in recent years, we've been expanding our capabilities into the cloud to cater to some customers' requests in that area. The important thing to keep in mind, whether you're an on-premise customer or an on-cloud customer, is that these two teams work together. Our personas between the two are not very different. You'll find that on-premise is constantly talking to on-cloud engineers and vice versa. Another thing to note that I think is very important is that both are very much linked by Watson and artificial intelligence efforts made by IBM. IBM has thousands of data scientists and thousands of engineers working around the clock around the world to create smarter software. And the important thing to note is that these advancements are not limited within those business units, but across IBM on a whole, this technology is disseminated. So if IBM makes a breakthrough in an entirely different product, that breakthrough is shared directly with Tealeaf and on-premise and is implemented into our code. So as IBM continues to make forays into this space, you'll see our AI continue to grow. And a side note there, I think IBM has they filed the most AI patents in the past 2 years, somewhere around 1,600, 1,700. So exciting stuff to come. So Tealeaf on Cloud 2019 roadmap. In 2019, our focus is very much going to be increasing the usability of our product. We've made a lot of efforts to improve replay, to improve search, to improve collaborative functions. Additionally, we have a few new areas that we think are going to really help our customers get utility out of the product. So off the bat here, you can see enhanced replay. Your first thought might be, wow, like this looks very similar to YouTube, and that is very much the goal here. We feel that our users should not be pushed to learn a whole new playing interface, but rather we should leverage their previous experience in other areas. So you'll notice the end-to-end scrubber bar. You'll notice highlighted free text search, errors, struggle indications. You'll also notice highlighted mouse movement, as well as the left nav update icons, making it a little more usable for your first-time Tealeaf user. And so this is getting a little bit more into the mouse movement. This is very early design that we came up with that kind of captures what we're looking to do. But what you'll continue to see is this movement towards, sort of a video-like replay. So hopefully we'll get to the point in the coming quarters that where you'll actually see the mouse moving from like as if you're actually watching the user replay. Additionally, we're going to be releasing enhanced mobile replay. This area has come in increased demand, especially as we've seen mobile usage surpass web browser. This is an increasingly important area for businesses to focus on, and we want to cater to the times. Another area that we're really excited about and is in the works, coming down the pipeline, is enhanced search. We call it smart search. So off the bat, you can see, it's going to sub-search under whatever you're looking for, whether it's an event or a session, as well as giving you predictive suggestions. So again, this is recreating your online experience similar to, let's say, searching Google or Bing. You're going to see that predictive suggestion. Additionally, we realize that when you're querying a session, drilling down can require a lot of specifics. So we wanted to kind of increase the UI functionality by having it automatically collapse some of the larger queries between and statements. So you'll see that. Here is the collaborative aspect that I mentioned earlier, which is make it very easy to share with your team, share with a specific person, share with the entire organization. This will allow you to share the query and have it populated by the most recent sessions, or you can share session lists if there is, if you want to share that specific time frame from when you originally did the search. So we definitely drew a line between that, realizing that there was demand for both. And so now we've reached the business impact analysis. What I've seen is that there is a great community of Tealeaf users, and they have made careers working with this product, and it's really incredible, and I feel profoundly proud to be working on this. But sometimes when you sit down with your CFO and you're trying to justify, let's pay for Tealeaf, sometimes they give you a little pushback because maybe they haven't spent as much time on or any time on the platform, or perhaps they're a new CFO and they don't necessarily understand what it does for the business. We've added to our roadmap, one of our biggest items for 2019 is a business impact analysis report. What this will do is it will essentially, and obviously for every different industry, dollars and cents where they're coming from can really vary, but just for a specific example, let's think about retail. If you have a bunch of customers churning and dropping out of your checkout process, that to you can make a lot of sense, but in order to have it speak to your CFO, you need to show him or her a very simple dashboard of this is how much money we've lost, this is how much money we've retained using Tealeaf, and this is how much money we could recover improving this funnel. So the approach here is building a business impact analysis to put that into dollar and cents for individuals in your organization. And then here, there's a lot to take in. if you need to pause and read, please do so. But this is a very rough estimate of where we'll be seeing features. I've covered enhanced replay, enhanced search, workspace enhancements are coming down the pipeline this quarter, anomaly detection, constantly getting feedback on that and implementing it. So you'll be seeing improvements, especially on the actionable side. What do I do once I see this anomaly? Improvements to overstats, performance dashboards so that you can tell how the system is doing. If login is down, you'll be able to see that. If servers are running slow, you'll be able to see that. If there's maintenance, you'll be able to see that. Additionally, just overall performance updates. We've had a very profound breakthrough in speeding up things on Tealeaf SaaS, so you'll be seeing that. And then business impact, as I mentioned. Watson Assistant, very much in our sites. And then you'll see a whole lot of mobile replay and mobile eventing and mobile struggle detection. This goes back to what I was saying about mobile being very much an important part of a business's ability to improve the CX of their customers. So, and then additionally, Tealeaf security and fraud, which is actually going all the way back to that symbiotic on-prem SaaS relationship, is something that both on-prem and SaaS are working together on building. So we're very excited to see what comes out of that. That is about it. And I'm going to hand it off to Rob to tell us a bit about v10.
So it's been a while since we have seen a major update to Tealeaf on-premises. That time does not mean that we have lost sight of on-premises at all. It does mean that we spent a few years spinning up the cloud product and bringing it to where it is today. And thank you, Whit, for taking us a bit into the future. But in terms of Tealeaf on-premises, the primary piece of feedback we receive is in terms of usability. Almost 50% of our time, the resources we're using for version 10 are being spent in modernizing both the user interface itself, just bringing it up to date, but then also updating some of the workflows. You see on the right here, browser-based replay. That's part of that update, meaning some customers are using Reality Viewer, or the RTV, because it provides some functionality in terms of search and replay that are not currently part of our browser-based replay or regular portal search capabilities. So what we're doing is we're bringing the most popular features from the RTV and from capabilities therein into either the browser-based replay or into the portal search experience itself. Two of those primary features are the ability to archive sessions, and then the second, and probably the most popular, is cross-section sub-search, so that I can take a set of sessions where I used to download those into my RTV. Now I'll be using the search experience to perform an initial index search and then a free text sub-search immediately after that. And I will not have to install the Reality Viewer with all the security approvals and additional headache that brings. Along with that, increasing how we use DOM capture. So our UIC, our UI capture library, provides some capabilities that the original classic PCA or network capture device type of replay does not necessarily capture by default. Just simply because, especially with today's web architecture, there's a lot of interaction that happens purely within the browser, and it's very important for our replay to capture that. Replay fidelity improves considerably the more Tealeaf on-premises is able to use that DOM capture data. Further, as customers begin to adopt the UI capture library, their bridge to the on-cloud product, should they wish to go that way in the future, that allows you to make that move much more easily, because you've already laid some of the groundwork for using that capture library. Along with usability comes simplicity. So how do we, as Whit demonstrated earlier, a video like replay, especially for the CX Mobile product, but really across all of the replay experiences in BBR, the browser-based replay tool, bringing that smooth, easy to use, very familiar replay experience to you as we update the product into v10. Then moving to the latest frameworks and to a framework-less replay capability, so that no longer do you have to keep the frameworks that you support inside Tealeaf up to date. Instead, moving to a paradigm where you can get a high-fidelity replay regardless of what framework you may be using. Way over on the right, you see device identification. This means making it easier for you to keep your device identifiers up to date. So Workful and BrowseGap, as you know them today, giving you much easier and much more frequent access to those device identifiers. Whether you're familiar with IBM UBX, Universal Behavior Exchange, or not, UBX provides a significant level of extensibility to both the on-cloud and the on-premises products by allowing you a much easier integration point between Tealeaf and some other endpoint. It could be some other IBM endpoint, such as Journey Analytics, where we're automatically sending events from Tealeaf to power your cross-session, cross-channel journey analysis. Or maybe it's to another partner, or to your Watson campaign automation for email and other touchpoint type campaigns. Regardless what it is, UBX makes that significantly easier by reducing the burden of your point-to-point integrations. This allows you, for example, to take, let's say, a cart abandonment and send that event anywhere using standard taxonomy that's provided to you through IBM UBX. If you'd like more information about UBX and all the use cases that it can provide, I'd encourage you to engage with us, because the partners listed here, this is just a small subset of the partners with whom we work within UBX. Then, as we've mentioned, a big focus for us is in fraud and security. Several of our customers are already using IBM Tealeaf to help them at the front lines in capturing fraud when it happens and putting a stop to it. It plays an important role in the fraud and security landscape as part of your overall fraud and security combat plan. A lot of fraud tools will either trim down the amount of data that they capture, or they sit much later in the process, let's say after a transaction has already been submitted. Tealeaf is unique in that it sits right at the front line where the user agent meets with your system and is able to capture fraudulent or at least suspicious behavior and bring it to your attention. In fact, some customers even code stop functions into their sessions so that when a session looks suspicious, they can actually bring it to a halt and require a human to intervene. What are we doing here? Allowing for better structure. Hood also mentioned the business impact analysis. In order for that business impact analysis to be at its very best, we need some additional structure to give those dollar numbers to allow you to decide between one project versus another, whether to make one fix versus another. And that structure is also helpful here so that we can provide better structured data for the fraud and security models that sit under the hood. Then there are things that we can do out of the box that can flow into your fraud and security detection landscape to allow you to better detect when suspicious activity may be happening. I would encourage you to look into the updates that we have upcoming in terms of fraud and security to see how Tealeaf can play a role in your organization in combating fraud if you are not already. Some detail around what our targets are. Our v10 targets for first half with dot releases following on after that. We already talked about the updated user interface. We didn't mention things like back-end enhancements, including the TMS, Tealeaf Management System, and some auto-update features we've added there. Mentioned browser-based replay and layout free. We are moving to a single version, so no longer do you have to decide whether you want a non-global or a global version of Tealeaf. There will be one version, and all of our support and development efforts will be centered around that. Some of the search functions that Whit mentioned, we're bringing as many of those to the on-premises product. Then a little bit into the future, the business impact analysis coming likely to the on-cloud product first, but then as soon after as we can provide it to Tealeaf on-premises customers as we can, we'd like to do that. Whether it's Tealeaf on-premises, Tealeaf on-cloud, some hybrid situation in between the two, we highly recommend that you engage with your IBM team in order to determine which solution is best for you, to determine how it fits into your landscape, and how we can help you to engage most effectively with the product.